Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. I hope you liked this intro as much as I enjoyed playing it, and it actually shows everything that you have to know about the Hellcat. And the Hellcat is today's tank of desire, and which I will talk about. First of all, before we go into the Hellcat itself, I witnessed something by doing a little bit of research within War Thunder about the Super Hellcat, and it has to do with American tanks. And let's get a bit back in time by having a look at the statistics. And I want to point out just a few tanks and their kill to death ratios and their rating. First of all, the M103, which just has a kill to death ratio of 2.56. Yet I love this tank and I would rate it relatively high, with a 2 out of between 1 and 6, with 1 being the best grade, so to say. I give it a 2. Also the M47, which is a tank that I rate with a complete 6 once it's stock. It's the most useless thing ever. It does have a 2.3 kill to death ratio, and it recently changed from being under 1 because I unlocked the heat shell with some golden eagles. So then we come to the Hellcat, and I give this a rating of 1, but it does have a kill to death ratio of just 3.3, and this is a big sign of how kill to death ratio can fool you. A bit more on that later. But the next tank would be the Super Pershing. Again, a terrible tank, yet I have a kill to death ratio of 4.2, but I would give this tank a 4. Then we have the M26, and there is a really big surprise, as I have a kill to death ratio of nearly 6, which is kind of the same with the M36, the Slugger, which is a bit higher, above 6, and I would give both a rating of 2. Okay, and the M36 is quite similar to the Super Hellcat, yet I have just half the kills per death, nearly, and the explanation is quite simple, but more on that later. Then let's go to the next page, and let's talk about the M4A276W, and I really love this tank, as it just not does have a 5.3 kill to death ratio, but it is quite nice to play. Same goes for the M8A1, which is, when I played it was borderline overpowered. A kill to death ratio of 7.4 is just insane. With the M6A1, where is it? There it is. It is quite the same, but I never doubted that this tank is good, as I have a kill to death ratio of 6.2. Yet many players struggle with it. I simply adapted to the playstyle of this vehicle, and I like the gun, and it works. Also, the second gun sometimes, saves you. That might just save you from this extra unnecessary death. Likewise with the M4A1, which does have a kill to death ratio of 5, nearly flat out, and is pretty good. Yet the gun is something that is not very desirable at higher tiers. At its bat rating, it's quite nice. But the most overpowered vehicle for the Americans was actually taken out of the game, which was the M35. I have a kill to death ratio of 9, and I would love to see this vehicle being back in the game. Jokes aside, I think when we go to the Super Hellcat, I think you really have a fantastic vehicle, and I highly recommend it. And I also say it straight away, it's the best premium vehicle you can see. Later on you will see some gameplay, and that gives you quite the impression how to play this tank. Just to give you the raw direction, before I do the actual proper tank review, as sometimes I forget to mention it, how you should play a tank. It's quite simple. Keep moving. Um, be there where the enemy doesn't expect you. Use your gun depression, use your insane mobility. Also, the reverse gear is insanely good, and your gun performs best when delivering side shots with the APHE ammunition. So, let's begin with the tank review. So let's have a quick look at the armor first, and we can see that you don't have really that much protection. It's probably safe from machine gun fire, but overall don't count on it. I mean, yeah, the turret can be bouncy, and you might manage to, yeah, bounce some shots, some funny shots, but when you meet a AAA vehicle, you're doomed. Even from the side, you're so much paper actually all around that you might survive APHE shell hits because your armor is so thin that the fuse actually doesn't go off, so they go straight through, and the shells act like solid AP shells. Then on the X-ray, we can see that we have here the machine gunner, which is funny because the machine gun is here. I guess he does have a very long arms. Then this driver here, yeah, he sits here. Then this is the loader, and here is the gunner and the commander. So the positioning of the crew members in the turret is reversed from your normal German and Russian tanks. So keep that in mind. Then we also see ammunition practically everywhere on both sides, and below the feet of the turret crew, and also here in the back of the turret. Then let's talk about the gun. And we have a 90mm M3 cannon, which is widely used in the American tanks here in War Thunder. And the ammunition you get is a solid shot with good penetration, but I don't use it because I just use the M82 shot. Because I always try to flank the enemy, and this gun and this shell behaves more or less like a 88mm shell from a German Tiger H1 or E. And about the APCR, there we have again a huge gap of 99 millimeters in penetration between the APHE shell and the APCR shell. And this makes the APCR shell quite usable, for example, against the turret front of King Tigers or Ferdinands. But but I have to say that you should avoid direct contact from the front with enemy tanks under, at any time. And again, the HE shell caliber is way too low, so don't use it. So then what about the mobility? Well, we see that we have 804 horsepower for 22 tons, which is 35 to nearly 40 horsepower per ton, which is insane. And also the top speed of nearly 80 is something which is not just theoretical. But most of the time you see speeds of 50 kilometers an hour. You will see this top speed downhill, but that's insanely fast, alright? And 60 is something you can reliably get onto straight lines. Also, the reverse gear is just phenomenally good, alright? This thing can just whip forward, take the shot, and reverse like no other tank in the game. But it feels a little bit held back by the weight of the gun, but that's to be expected when you take into account that the normal Hellcat or the M18 Black Cat therefore have a lighter gun, and they feel a bit more agile, but it's nothing that you will hold back. So that's practically the tank review done. how should you play this tank? Well, use your insane speed and mobility to get into positions. I actually overdo it all the time, and then I get trapped and wibbled down and just manage to get 3 to 4 kills. Also, I get often killed by airplanes when I flank around, for example, on Poland, when I get onto the other side of the lake. Now the survivability of this tank is rather low, as I mentioned, because the armor is relatively weak, and your armor is so weak that you get overmatched all the time, so angling does not work. So side scraping is just an option in terms of, fast retreat forwards into cover. But this is a special technique. I think that's it. Let's hop into some gameplay, shall we? So, welcome to Berlin, Conquest mode, and we will see that the one and only cap circle is on the right hand side, and I will go straight away to the left side. And this is the main theme of this, as I try to avoid the main battle area, so to say. And I think Berlin in particular is an excellent map for this tank, as you have a lot of cover, a lot of ridge lines, and therefore a lot of opportunities to bring your gun to sing. Normally, sometimes I hide here on the Reichstag, to a bit more on the left side. I try to get in some shots on those tanks, but yeah, that was a bit of frustration there from me, as sometimes, especially lately, sometimes either the guns are very inaccurate, or I don't know, sometimes shells don't go there where I aim them. This Yak Panther received a shot. It was not deadly, but I guess he was, aware of that his tank is crippled, and he eventually bailed out. So, and there I am in the position where I want to be. I have the flank of the complete enemy team. And here is a situation where often players, and even me, are doing certain mistakes. And I'm not talking about that strange bounce on the turret of a T-44, because, strong Russian steel. And here I penetrate without problems on the side of the King Tiger turret, but weak German steel. This gun is really good for side shots, and there you can make the most out of your killing power. Then I saw this Panther F appearing, and I don't like frontal engagements that much. I think the reload rate is a bit of a drawback for this gun. It feels like this tiny little bit too long to make those frantic, gameplay. That's really hard pushing a gameplay that you can do with the normal regular Hellcat. And I was just leaving this Panther behind. I assumed that he either will chase me and then I can land ambush, or he just gave up and concentrates on other targets. Here I tried to get a shot on this M46, which I see recently more and more, and I don't know why, because it's still not very good, to be very polite. And I'm losing too much time here, but currently the team seems to have everything under control at A, as we have numerous tanks there. Then I look at the radar and I see the red dot of the Panther F, and I lie in ambush, and the weak side armor of the Panther series is strong enough to activate the fuse. So then I try to make certain shots, through the destroyed trains. Yeah, and I had no direct shot, but the hit was good enough, I guess, to give me the kill assist, but this time I finish off this M26E1. Again, this is, I guess, the premium version. It never convinced me. Then I see this Tempest, and this is why the 50 cal is so good. I killed him in mid-air, by the way. So it gives you this additional hits or this kind of self-defense that you often need. Then I try to look around the corner, see somebody, and this is the difficult time. Yeah, that shell was rather unlucky, I have to admit. And also the second one, the fuse doesn't go off, or the breach eats the shell. I don't know. But I was kind of wondering what's going on. Then I see this dot on the radar in the Brandenburger Tor, and I was wondering if this was the same guy that I killed in the Panther F. I laid an ambush, and sadly this time I can't go through the angled side armor, and then I had a derp moment, and don't chase a Hellcat. This was kind of a mistake of him. This was the 5th kill. As you can see, this Super Hellcat is very maneuverable. Also the reverse gear is excellent. Again, I try to get first look on the side. Again, for the 3rd time, the shell doesn't go off, and I have no idea why. The rear armor of the turret of any King Tiger should be thick enough. Then I see a Yak Panther which doesn't pay attention. Again, one shell through the side is enough to kill him as I hit the ammunition rack. So then next target had to be the Ferdinand. I tried to get a shot in, but it was not to be. Well, I hit him, but it wasn't a good hit, so to speak. Again, I tried to reposition myself. This is the mistake that I made way too often. I was in very good positions, but I was alone. Like this time, I'm the only one on this flank of my team. That was a bad shot, by the way. The next thing is, and now. First of all, the enemy team caps, which is nice for me, as we have such a big points advantage that I need more time. Often I don't get this high score games because I ran out of time. My team is too good, or I gave my team, through prioritizing the right targets, an advantage on the battlefield, and they just then steamroll the enemy. This shouldn't be arrogant, but this is just how it is. Sadly, I just track this M26. And back to the topic of discussing, certain tactics. I often don't pay attention to the minimap, and somebody that I killed comes after me for revenge and kills me, and that's my 8th kill, by the way. 7 tanks, 1 airplane. And also I get sometimes overconfident or overextend. That was the 9th kill, 8th tank kill. And at this point I was sure that I had a pretty good result. But I also had confidence in my team, and that I suppressed the enemy enough and frustrated a lot of players. Because if you kill tanks with such shots and the enemy player observes the kill cam, he just had enough. He is frustrated and just leaves the match. And even more if you kill those guys that come after you, they just see no point in continuing the fight. That was an unlucky shot. This time the side armor of the guess what? It was a British AAA. Was too weak for the use of my APHE shell. I was a bit too slow for this Yak Panther, but then I find the right shell for the kill. Yeah, Crusader AA Mark 1, I think it's the most terrible AAA, aside from Tier 1 AAA in the game. Yeah, it was frustrating to play, believe me that it took a while to get kills. Yeah, so you can see I was quite lonely here. It was not that frantic action that I had in some other games, but this was the highest kill count, so to speak. The game is about to end. I tried to get a shot off, but I'm out of position here, as the remaining enemy tanks are all on the other side of the map, trying to secure the victory. Again, a bad shot. Bad leads, you know, through the rubble or the destroyed train wreck. Yeah. And I also just made use of my insane mobility at the beginning. And that's the next thing. Just because you have such a high mobility doesn't mean that you have to use it all the time. That was my last attempt to get a shot off. I can't make the shell, the kill, sadly. Yeah, Heavy Metal Fury, Survivor, and lots of other awards. Let's have a quick look at the post-battle results screen. And there we see that for 10 kills and 3 assists and 1 airplane kill, I got nearly 10,000 experience and nearly 90,000 silver lines. Yeah, so again, this is a very good grinding vehicle. Strangely, however, I was just second, but you know, they were obviously deeper in the battle zone. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like. Let me know in the comment section what you think about American tanks and your statistics. And that's it. See you next time, hopefully on the battlefield.